Hello and welcome to the Mitch's Mic. Only positive things have been happening. I'm really excited. So let's go with some of my notes first. Some of these are a little old because I've been wanting to do this for a while, but I don't know, creative slumps happen. So I guess I'll start with actually not on my notes and begin with a creative slump. We could start with that because I am terrified every time to put out any kind of content, really. It's just kind of this, it's not that it's an irrational fear. It's more of I don't want to be putting something out that I'm not 100% proud of. I don't want to be putting out anything that somebody is going to criticize. And no matter what, there's going to be sections of everything where I'm not particularly proud of X thing, or I wasn't ready for X thing. Maybe I wasn't particularly proud of X thing. Maybe I wasn't ready for X thing to come out. Maybe this wasn't great, whatever. I think it's more important for me to be on a schedule than anything. And I will be putting out things anyway. And for people to criticize things, that's going to happen anyway. There's no getting around that. That's just me being anxious. That's kind of what this Mitch's Mic is about, is being more aware of my anxiety and trying to figure out how to cope with it. One of the things being is I see a therapist now once a week just to really build a rapport with them and then see where it goes from there. Go once a week for probably quite some time and just speak about things, because I know it's very debilitating. My anxiety stops me from doing anxiety and depression both stop me from doing things that are critical to existence, like getting a job and dealing with just kind of the people in your life. And when I say dealing, I don't necessarily mean like everybody in your life is a negative. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is people like family, they're always going to be there. They're always going to be around, assuming you have a good family. They're the ones you're going to have. And in my case, I'm lucky enough to have that. And I didn't show them the respect that they deserved, and I didn't show them the love that they deserved. And now I'm really trying to do that in my own way. You're still going to have your personality, and they're going to understand that. But it becomes to more of a factor of trying and making a gesture versus not actually following through, because of course you need to. But communication is basically what everything comes down to. Communication of wants and needs. I mean, that's any relationship in life. That's business. That's business. That's relationship with a significant other. That's family. That's everything. It's like literally everything. Anyway, yes. So I very much have anxiety putting out anything on this channel, on this playlist, on wherever you're listening to this, Spotify, YouTube, whatever. Real quick plug, because I haven't been doing this anywhere, and I should. If you're listening to this on YouTube, and if you've listened to the other things that we have on the YouTube channel, on the CalmCast YouTube channel or the CalmCast Spotify, we also have a CalmCast SoundCloud. I'm sure the Spotify is easier. Spotify just takes from SoundCloud anyway, so anything that's on SoundCloud will just go to the Spotify. Any questions, comments, whatever, you could also email at thecalmtheory@gmail.com. We have a Twitter account at theorycalm. We also have a Patreon site. I'm not really going to push that too much, but it exists. All the links are at any video you go on YouTube. So if you find CalmCast on YouTube, you can find everything in the description box. Spotify, I'm not sure how that works, unfortunately. The numbers on Spotify, though, have been insane for what I thought they would be. And even though I'm seeing these numbers like go up and up and up, for whatever reason, I'm still anxious about people listening to this. I'm not exactly sure why. And I feel like most people do enjoy the Mitch's Mics over a lot of other things because they're short little snippets of just genuine life. So I hope I can keep that going. And I should. So one of my notes is applying for better jobs. Grocery stores suck. Yeah. I actually got a new job. That's kind of what I've been working on for a while. And I got a job offer. I just actually went this morning to go do a drug screening for it. So once that gets back to them, it's all good news from there. Starting therapy, yep, already touched on that. Trying to do things like thinking more positively, like challenging every thought I have. Like everything is better than it seems, and it's true. Because everything that I was going through and doing was like, oh, like my thoughts were actually just kill me in some scenarios. Or I don't know, like, work is work. Everybody's gonna have to do it. Just do it. It's not, I don't know. I was always very stubborn and abrasive and just always felt like a burden to people because the way I was acting, I was. If I actually apply myself, I will not be a burden. I know I'm better than that. And again, a lot of these Mitch's mics, I'm going to be telling myself things that other people, I believe, need to hear as well and need to start thinking of for themselves. So anything I put into my context, I want that to bleed through into other people's lives of people who need it, which may be everybody. Who knows? I think everybody could benefit from going to a therapist, whether it's as a couple or separately or even group therapy. Who cares, right? As long as it's something. You get something off your chest, or you get something, whatever. It doesn't really matter. As long as you're doing something to better yourself, it's going to affect you better. It's going to affect the people around you better. You'll become a more positive influence, I believe. Yeah, and putting those thoughts and preparations into practice is what really changes things. Yeah, like what I was saying. The change in mentality is great. Change in mentality is absolutely wonderful. I'm not going to knock that at all. But actually taking steps to do something about it and to see the changes that you have in your life, those are the important things. As soon as you put something into practice, and maybe your thoughts aren't coming across exactly correctly, and then when you go to put them in practice, you can actually see the reaction from other people or the reaction from yourself even. Maybe you get anxious or you get angry or you get whatever at certain situations, and then challenge those thoughts. Go like, why am I angry? Do I really need to be this upset? Do I really need to be this like aggressive in this situation? Maybe not. Or maybe it's the complete opposite. It's like, maybe I'm backing down way too much in this scenario where I can actually speak up and somebody will listen to me. There's always those scenarios of just try and keep it at a nice medium as much as you can. Just be real with people and they'll probably be real back. It's things like when people say, you always do this. That's a definitive, right? That's defining. Somebody's going to be immediately offended by you always do this or you never do this. As soon as you hear that, God, just losing what those are called, but those defining terms of like, you always do this, you never do this. Those things, you immediately shut off to those things, right? I mean, I do. And instead of that, try and take that as, okay, well, they never see it as these kind of changes. Maybe I should do more in those scenarios. I know it's hard to hear those things and then react in a positive way. Believe me, it is. But that's usually coming from a place of hostility and wanting to have something better, which is not a bad thing, wanting things to be better, but maybe it's just gone on so long that person in particular is, I mean, they're kind of fed up with it and they're not thinking, oh, maybe it's something I can do, or maybe they were trying to do things, but maybe it wasn't good enough. Anyway, challenging these thoughts, having things change, and just being more positive in certain scenarios, I think is absolutely phenomenal. And this is all what I'm getting from therapy, and it's great. And turning anger into productivity. Whenever I get angry at something, specifically something, because if I can give an example, this will be so much better. When a manager or a higher up at work tells me to do something like, hey, Mitch, fill whatever, I get upset immediately. If somebody tells me to do something, I get so mad. Versus if somebody says, hey, Mitch, could you please do this? Or I really need you to do whatever thing. Could you do that, please? It's just more of the power of suggestion or a question. Because of course I'm going to say, yes, I'm there to help. I'm doing a job. Like, yeah, I'm going to do it. So it's just phrasing and the matter of perspective that every individual involved has. And sometimes not everybody is looking at it that way. I know I'm not. For the longest time, I wasn't. But now it's a lot more of a, yeah, no, I'll go do that. Even if they're not saying it the best way, a lot of the time they come back and they'll say something like, oh, thanks. And again, at the end of the day, it's your job. It is a job. Just do it. There's no sense in getting frustrated over these things, especially things you can't control directly. Controlled socializing for mental health. This one is more me talking about my issues in a roundabout way, or When I say roundabout way, let me explain that because that sounds bad. Again, me not speaking to my family a lot for a little portion of time was, I mean, it was bad. It wasn't good. Especially me living at home. It's not good. Controlled socializing mainly being, I do tend to keep to myself, but I do also like to talk a lot. So being up with my family and just spending that little extra time and speaking with them about whatever's going on in my life, because I know they want to know and I just never let them in. Why? I don't know. I just really didn't. It may have been an anxiety thing. Again, anger and just being stubborn and patient and like at the same time. It's not good. It wasn't the best. So controlled socializing mainly being not talk to my friends less, because that's not what I aim to do, but prioritize who gets Mitch time. Too caught up in what people think of me and not what I think of myself. This one was kind of rough to write down because originally I thought like, oh, I don't give a shit what anybody thinks of me. When in reality, I was reacting way too much to what people thought of me, when I just kind of have to go, no, I have to think what I think of myself, and I only have me all the time. Like 100% of the time, it's all me. And it's the people who come in that are from the outside, which is everybody else. And yes, you need to take in input from other people. Absolutely. That's how we learn. That's how we grow as people in general. But for me, it was taking too much in and not thinking, well, what is good for me? What am I? Who am I? It was too much of me listening to other people or somebody saying, hey, you want to go do this thing? And me saying yes and just doing it and then being an anxious, depressed mess either during or afterwards or beforehand or all throughout. And as much as it's great to say yes, I need to learn to say no a little more to prioritize things in my life, like my family. And I mean, and work too. There's a lot of times where I'm just online talking to people, playing games, whatever, when I should have been job hunting, or I should have been, which I could have been doing both, but I, again, would have rather distracted myself from life than actually be a part of life and living. So there's a lot of that that's not great. But again, taking things and challenging every thought I had just kind of works in with the whole message of this entire podcast right here, this episode. Yeah, of just challenging every thought I have and saying, hey, why are you doing this right now? And a lot of the time, it's probably fine. It's like, hey, why are you doing this right now? It's like, well, maybe I'm playing a game and I just kind of want to unwind right now. Great. How long are you doing this for? Because if it's hours and hours and hours on end, you could probably do something else. It's fine to unwind for a while or for a little while, or if, say, you've had like 3 days of nonstop work, right? Like overtime, which does not happen for me. But if that's your situation, and then you go, I just want to go to sleep, and then say you have the next day off, and then you're like, I want to spend the whole day fucking around doing nothing. I don't want to do anything but playing games and maybe talking to my friends and or whatever. It's like, I just don't want to do anything. At that point, yeah, you've earned that. You've done a lot. So as far as those scenarios go, it's all in proportion, and it's all in a healthy mindset. If that's good for you and you don't feel like shit after that day of playing games, then great. It's however it makes you feel. It's however it gets you to a positive spot of being, hey, I'm being productive. I deserve a little time out. Like right now, me doing this is extremely therapeutic. I've been wanting to do this for a while, and even I was taking a shower and then I came down to do this. And even while I was showering, I was like, oh, maybe you'll just want to relax. Maybe you just want to play a game instead of doing this, because I'm not going to have time to edit this before I leave for work. But once you kind of just do it, you just start doing it, things just kind of flow, especially if it's something you're used to. Like this for me is very good. It's very good. I know other people are going to listen to this, so speaking to myself like this is not insanity because I know I'm producing something. If I were to do this just on my own with no recording software going, that would be insane. I'd be an insane person. But the reason I do this is so it's therapeutic for me. It makes me feel good, and I know it's something people want to see. I'm looking at the numbers right now on Spotify, and even though Psykicks is gaining in popularity, the Mitch's mics are the second most popular thing. The ASMR reviews there's something I just want to do. All of these are just things I want to do. So whether one show takes off and one show doesn't really matter to me. I'm still going to be doing them no matter what, but it's still it's something that makes me feel good. Versus if I came down here and I started playing video games, and instead of doing this, like where I know I could have been doing this, I probably would have went to work feeling like shit, because I feel pretty damn good right now just doing this, especially it being a little late and I want to put out more Mitch's mics. I'd like to do them once a week. That'd be great, and I think I can, because I record for typically 20 to 30 minutes and then edit them down a little bit, so we'll see how that goes. But I think I can do that. I just don't want the same thing happening every week. I don't want it to be like the same show, like twice, 2 times in a row or whatever, of being like, oh, I'm just getting better. Even though it is kind of like my internet diary, sort of, kind of a journal entry, whatever you want to call it. And then the last thing I have is self-love is not being an egomaniac. It's understanding that you are you and you love that. Also things like taking showers, brushing your teeth, and physically taking care of yourself where it's needed. Yeah, I mean self-love, self-care, yeah, it's like that kind of a thing. Again, it all comes back to like a mental health thing, but for the longest time I thought if this kind of goes back to of being too caught up in what people think of me and not what I think of myself. It's kind of along those lines of I had to pause my recording because there's a man right outside my window filling up our propane tanks. Scared the living shit out of me. Anyway, because in order to make your life better, you have to make your life better. And it always sounded very self-centered to me, of being, oh, I have to take care of me for other people. That doesn't make any sense, when I could just take care of other people and just cut out the me part. But it's kind of, I was even talking to my mother about this, and what she said was, it's actually the most selfless thing you can do is taking care of yourself, because it allows you to be a better person for other people. So if you can take care of yourself, you'll be good, right? You are 100% good. So when other people come to you, well, nobody's going to be 100% good, but you know what I mean. When other people come to you, you will be centered. You will be you, and you will love yourself. And when people come to you and see that, it rubs off onto other people, and other people want to be like that. And they kind of go, how can I do that? Now, these are people who want to better themselves. And then those are people who will be better off. You do make the world a better place by existing as the best version of yourself. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do in this podcast too, is being the best version of myself that I can be and putting that out onto the internet. And this is kind of the logging of my journey to be that person, because I don't think I'm a bad person. I just think I have some bad habits, some bad habitual thought patterns, I guess, and anxiety and depression issues, where I just need to challenge those thoughts. I need to recognize when anxiety is coming. I need to recognize when depression is coming and stop them before they happen. Because once they hit for me, they hit very hard. So if I can be more comfortable in my day-to-day and be better in my day-to-day, then I'll be fine. I need to treat myself with more respect, and by doing that, I will treat others with more respect. If I know I need and want more love in my life, I will give and want to give more love to the people in my life. So I think that's going to do it for me on this one. Yeah. I mean, I got to go to work, so so that'll do it for me. I hope you enjoyed the positive messages. I'm going to keep trying to do Mitch's mics. I'm going to put them out whenever I kind of want, whenever I feel like. I will try to get into more of a routine of it, but I don't want to put unnecessary pressure on myself. Also, Psykicks is coming out soon, so I'm going to try and do that every Thursday. Going to try and get out Psykicks on Thursdays we'll see how that goes. But I think that's what I'm going to have to end up doing. So guys, stay happy, stay healthy, drink plenty of water, make good decisions.